A single gunshot echoes through the air, starting a desperate mission. The man who pulled the trigger is Nie Yan. His eyes are cold and steady as he aims at his target. The bullet hits. A heavy man in an expensive suit, Chairman Cao, stumbles back. Blood spreads across his chest. He falls. Panic breaks out. Bodyguards rush to their boss, shouting his name. Others quickly turn and fire at Nie Yan. His mission is complete, but he knows he will not survive. Bullets tear through his body. As he lies on the ground, bleeding, Nie Yan looks at Chairman Cao with quiet satisfaction. He tells him that in death, everyone is equal. No matter how rich or powerful a man is, he can still die from a single bullet. Cao Xu's great wealth could not save him. With his last breath, Nie Yan says his revenge for his parents is finally complete. But as his life fades away, he cannot stop wondering why fate was so cruel. Why did it take everything he loved? He reaches toward the fading light, refusing to accept this end. His spirit screams in defiance. He will not give up. His body seems to fall into endless darkness. Then, suddenly, a small light appears. An eye opens. Nie Yan's eyes snap open in shock. He is lying in a bed, not in a pool of blood. He is unharmed. He quickly sits up, his heart racing. He clearly remembers being shot by Cao Xu's bodyguards. So how is he alive? He looks around and freezes. This is his old, small apartment from his student days. Has he been sent back in time? A news report on the small TV catches his attention. It talks about the launch of a new virtual reality game called Conviction. The servers have just opened. His eyes widen. This confirms it. He really has returned to the past. He picks up a dusty photo frame and looks at a picture of himself and his parents. The memory is both sweet and painful. Back then, his parents traded special metals at the border. When the government later bought those metals at a high price, they made a huge profit. With that money, his father started a smelting company. Their family became rich almost overnight. They lived in luxury and had everything they wanted. But the good days did not last. When Nie Yan was 25, Cao Xu's Century Financial Group targeted his father's company. The friends his father trusted were bribed and turned against him. The business collapsed and went bankrupt. His father could not accept the failure and ended his life. His mother died soon after from heartbreak. Nie Yan was left alone. Looking at his reflection now, he admits that growing up rich had made him lazy. He wasted his youth. Only after losing everything did he choose to risk his life to take Cao Xu down with him. But now, he has been given a second chance. His eyes burn with determination as he clenches his fist. This time, he will not lose anything, and he knows exactly where to begin. The game Conviction was a holographic virtual reality game that would change the world. It attracted many powerful financial groups. It was also the foundation of Cao Xu's empire. The game quickly became humanity's second world. In his past life, Nie Yan was not just an ordinary player. He was a legendary level 180 great thief. He quickly grabs his phone and checks the date. It is July 25, 2025. Conviction has only been open for 7 days. A deep sense of relief fills his heart. It is not too late. He still has time. This is his perfect chance to rise again. He thinks carefully. At this early stage, the highest player on the leaderboard should only be around level 5. With all his memories and experience from the future, catching up will not be difficult. He remembers that his younger self still had some savings at this time. He checks his bank account. There is just enough money to buy a basic gaming helmet. His hand tightens into a fist. His knuckles turn white. He thinks of Cao Xu, the man who destroyed his family. A cold anger settles deep in his heart. With a clear goal in mind, he changes his clothes and leaves the apartment. This time, he will change everything. Later that night, the light in his small apartment remains on. Under the full moon, it shines like a silent promise. With the gaming helmet in his hands, he knows he is 7 days behind other players. But he is not worried. With his knowledge of the future, he will defeat every rival and stand at the very top of Conviction. Without hesitation, he puts on the helmet. He is ready to return to the world he once ruled. His awareness fades from the real world. A system window appears in front of him. He is entering Conviction.
The first step is creating his character. A large world map appears in front of him, asking him to choose his starting country. The world of Conviction is divided into 3 main factions. The first is the lawful good righteous faction. It includes the Viridian Empire and the Citrine Empire. The Viridian Empire is a human nation ruled by a council of elders. It is home to classes like clerics, mages, and assassins. The Citrine Empire is a tribal alliance made up of proud dwarves, fierce orcs, and elegant elves. The second faction is the lawful evil dark faction. It is formed by demon and undead tribes ruled by powerful dictators. The third option is the neutral faction. It is for players who prefer a peaceful path and includes races like the giant tribes. Nie Yan does not hesitate. In his past life, he chose the Viridian Empire and played as a Gale thief. He spent years working hard on that character. He knows every skill and quest by heart. Choosing the same class again will help him use the knowledge from his rebirth. With confidence, he selects the Gale Thief class under the Viridian Empire. The system confirms his choice. Next, he moves to the naming screen. He types in his new name, Nirvana Flame. The name represents his rebirth from the ashes of his past life. The system confirms again. Character created, Nirvana Flame. He enters the game and appears in Cao City, the main city of the Viridian Empire. A familiar status window pops up in front of him. Level 1 Thief. 5 stat points available. A small smile appears on his face. The feeling is back. But this time, he knows exactly what to do. Without wasting time, he adds 3 points to strength and 2 points to agility. In his past life, he made mistakes when building his character and lost valuable time. He will not repeat that error. He looks around the busy city square. The teleport area is crowded with new players starting their adventures.
Some players are already trying to sell items. One player is shouting loudly, trying to sell a common dagger for 2 copper coins, claiming it is much better than the starter weapon. Nie Yan smirked. He knew that same dagger was sold in a nearby town for just 1 copper coin. In his past life, he had foolishly fallen for that scam. But not this time. He remembered everything. Just then, another merchant caught his attention. A level 3 player named Silent Paladin was shouting, trying to sell a stealth skill book. He called out to all the rookie thieves to come and look. The new players complained about the price. 6 copper coins were a lot for them since most were still broke. But for Nie Yan, this was a golden chance. He walked up to Silent Paladin and asked the price. The paladin smiled and said it was 6 copper coins, just as listed. Nie Yan started thinking fast. Stealth was very important in the early game. With it, he could open a hidden chest in the Wildcat Zone, a level 5 area near Tracktown. Since most players were still low level, the chest should still be unopened. With a calm smile, Nie Yan made a bold offer. He told Silent Paladin to give him the book for free. In return, he would share a secret farming spot that could drop more than a dozen stealth books each day. Silent Paladin became angry. Seeing that Nie Yan was only level 0, he thought he was just some crazy player trying to cheat him. He told Nie Yan to leave. But Nie Yan stayed calm and told him to wait. Then he revealed that he knew exactly where Silent Paladin had been farming the books, by killing fallen shamans in Link Town. The paladin froze in shock. Nie Yan continued and even said the exact coordinates of the farming spot. "Am I right?" he asked. Silent Paladin broke into a cold sweat. How could this stranger know his secret location? If the new spot was even better, he could earn many more books each day. After thinking quickly, the paladin made a decision. He pushed the stealth book into Nie Yan's hands. It was only 1 book. If the new location really worked, it would be worth it. A system window appeared, showing that he was trading with Nirvana Flame. The deal was done. Nie Yan kept his promise and told him the new coordinates near another fallen shaman camp. Silent Paladin was thrilled and prepared to leave right away. Before he left, Nie Yan made one more request. The fallen shamans could also drop a skill book called Owl's Insight. If the paladin got an extra one, could he mail it to him? Silent Paladin quickly agreed. If the new farming spot worked, he would send the skill book immediately. Then he used his hearthstone. In a flash of blue light, he disappeared. Now holding the stealth skill book, Nie Yan had completed his first goal. A faint light surrounded Nie Yan as he prepared for his next move, opening the hidden chest. He quickly moved through the city and arrived at Tracktown, the closest town to his target. Without wasting any time, he used the skill book. A system window appeared confirming that he had learned stealth, a skill that allowed him to become invisible. He took one step and activated the skill. Dark shadows wrapped around his body, and he disappeared from sight. Like a ghost, he moved through the busy streets of Tracktown. Using his agility, he jumped over the town walls instead of going through the guarded gates. He landed softly in the forest outside and immediately ran toward the high-level hunting ground where the treasure was hidden. Still hidden by stealth, he reached the Wildcat Zone. The forest was full of danger. Wildcats between level 2 and level 4 roamed everywhere, ready to attack any player they saw. From the cover of the trees, Nie Yan spotted what he was looking for. A silver chest rested on a high tree branch. Below it, several deadly level 5 wildcats patrolled the area. In conviction, chests were ranked by rarity. The ranks went from common, silver, gold, dark gold, and finally legendary. The higher the rank, the better the rewards. Nie Yan stared at the silver chest. That was his goal. The loot inside was fixed, and once opened, the chest would disappear forever. He felt relieved knowing he was the first to find it. For a level 0 player, entering a level 5 area was normally suicide. But there was one good thing: at his level, dying would not cause any loss of experience. With nothing to lose, he activated stealth again and moved forward. He slipped through the bushes like a shadow, carefully avoiding the wild cats. Then he jumped up into the branches of a large tree, keeping his eyes on the chest. He had to be fast. Stealth only lasted 2 minutes, and opening a chest took time. Suddenly, one of the wild cats below stopped. Its red eyes glowed as if it sensed something was wrong. It suddenly jumped and swiped at the air where Nie Yan had just been. He knew he could not get too close, or his stealth would break. He quickly moved from branch to branch, staying above the confused and angry cats. Finally, he landed silently on a thick branch right beside the chest. Without hesitation, he reached out. An opening progress bar appeared. His heart beat faster, but he forced himself to stay calm. His invisibility could end at any moment. Below him, the wild cats grew more restless. Then, with a soft click, the chest opened. The system showed that it had taken 27 long seconds. Nie Yan's eyes shone with excitement. He pulled out a skill book from inside. "Got it," he whispered. The reward for his risk was a skill called Vital Strike. It allowed him to deal 150% extra damage when hitting an enemy's weak point. For a thief, this skill was extremely powerful. His journey to the top had truly begun. Nie Yan smirked. At level 0, he had already obtained a top-tier skill meant for advanced thieves. With Vital Strike, his early game progress would be much faster. Everything was going exactly as planned. As the skill book disappeared, a system message appeared. It confirmed that Nie Yan had successfully learned Vital Strike. His plan was now moving forward. Just as his stealth effect ended, 2 large red-eyed creatures below noticed him. But this was exactly what he wanted. Without hesitation, Nie Yan jumped down into a group of giant rats. While falling, he even thanked the confused monsters for guarding the chest. It was a clear insult. In Conviction, dying usually meant losing experience and possibly dropping items. But Nie Yan was level 0 and had nothing valuable. For him, death was not a punishment, it was useful. System messages appeared one after another. He had died. He dropped his useless starter gloves. Then he was teleported to the nearest town. His plan had worked perfectly. In a flash of light, Nie Yan respawned in the middle of a busy town. He smiled. He had just used death as a free instant teleport. Now it was time for the second phase of his leveling plan. He stood in the main square, surrounded by many new players who had no idea about the advantage he had. Looking around the starting village, Nie Yan knew he needed quick money. Thanks to his memories from his past life, he knew about a hidden quest. First, he went to Hunter Claws and accepted a simple mission to collect 20 giant rat skulls. Then he visited Farmer End and accepted another quest to kill 50 silver-gray giant rats. Just as he expected, after taking those 2 quests, Apothecary Droll approached him. Because Nie Yan had met the hidden requirements, a secret third quest was unlocked. Only he knew about this special trick. With a confident smile, he accepted the hidden quest to collect 21 giant rat tails. All 3 quests matched perfectly. Out in the fields, a silver-gray giant rat moved quietly through the tall grass. It was exactly the monster he needed. Nie Yan rushed forward and used Vital Strike. The skill did not even require a dagger. It dealt 21 points of damage, far more than a normal level 0 player could do. The rat died instantly. A skull and a tail dropped as loot. He was already making fast progress. To his surprise, his first kill also dropped a rare item. It shone brightly in the grass, a pair of tough leather leggings. They were common gear, but still valuable for a new player. Nie Yan immediately understood their worth. Selling them at the auction house would give him the extra copper he needed for the next part of his plan. But he did not stop. Soon, he was fighting an entire group of giant rats. He moved quickly, using Vital Strike again and again, killing the monsters one after another. It was clear he would finish farming very soon. For the next hour, he continued without rest. An hour later, Nie Yan returned to the village with a full inventory. He turned in the quest items to Hunter Claws, Farmer End, and Apothecary Droll. As a reward, he received 34 copper coins and several health potions. Without wasting time, he listed the leather leggings on the auction house. Then he headed straight to the weapon shop. Inside, the shopkeeper warmly greeted him and proudly claimed his weapons were the best in town. But Nie Yan was not there to look around. He clearly stated what he wanted: a level 0 crossbow with good minimum attack and fire rate, all for under 40 copper coins. The next step of his master plan had begun. The shopkeeper smiled and showed him his best item, a rapid-fire hand crossbow. It had a triple shot effect, which made it perfect for Nie Yan. The price was exactly 35 copper coins. Nie Yan bought it immediately. He also purchased 9 bundles of rough iron bolts, each bundle containing 1,000 bolts. In total, he now had 9,000 bolts. The total cost was 44 copper coins, almost all the money he had. With his new weapon and a huge supply of ammunition, he left the shop. The owner wished him safe travels. Now fully prepared, Nie Yan headed toward his real target, the Bison Zone. He knew the game had a strict level suppression system. The monsters in the Bison Zone were level 8. For low-level players, they were unbelievably strong. Even top players would not dare fight them at this stage. But Nie Yan was not worried. With his future knowledge, he believed he could defeat the huge level gap, even at level 0. He arrived at the Wild Bison Zone. It was a wide open plain filled with powerful monsters and dangerous rocky cliffs. Carefully, Nie Yan moved through a narrow ravine toward a very specific place he remembered from his past life. He climbed up to a high ledge and quietly repeated the coordinates in his mind. This was the exact spot. From his high position, he looked down at the field below and quickly found his target, the boss of the area, the Bison Chieftain. It was a level 8 chieftain-ranked monster, far too strong for any beginner to fight. But Nie Yan remained calm. From this ledge he had the perfect distance and angle. The boss was just within range of his crossbow. He aimed and fired. Bolts flew toward the unaware boss. Because of the large level difference, many shots missed. Even the ones that hit only caused 1 point of damage. But that did not matter. He had 9,000 bolts. His plan was to slowly defeat the boss from this safe spot. He kept firing again and again. Small damage numbers appeared one by one, slowly lowering the chieftain's health. The bison became angry. It could not see who was attacking it. Its health bar barely moved, but it had no way to fight back. Finally, the bison chieftain roared loudly and charged toward the cliff, trying to reach its attacker. But it only crashed into the rock wall. Nie Yan watched calmly and told the beast to give up. This was a known glitch spot, a place where monsters could not reach players because of the terrain. The bison was completely helpless. From his safe spot on the cliff, Nie Yan kept shooting without stopping. Most of his bolts missed, but that didn't matter. He only needed a few to hit. Slowly, little by little, the bison's huge health bar went down. The air was filled with the sharp sounds of bolts flying. His ammo count dropped from over 8,000 to 6, then 5,000. It was slow and tiring. 3 long hours passed before the bison chieftain's health finally fell into the red. The monster let out a loud, painful roar, knowing it was about to die. Nie Yan was sweating and completely exhausted from repeating the same action again and again. He had already used nearly 4,000 bolts, and he couldn't believe the beast was still standing. Taking a deep breath, he fired one last shot. The bolt flew straight and hit the angry chieftain right between the eyes. Its health bar reached 0. The giant boss, which had seemed impossible to defeat, was killed by a single level 0 player. The huge creature swayed weakly. Then, with a heavy crash, the bison chieftain fell to the ground, shaking the earth. A system window popped up in front of Nie Yan. He had killed the bison chieftain and received a massive 1,800% experience bonus because of the level difference. In a flash, he rose to level 2. His long and patient fight had paid off. He quickly climbed down from the cliff to check the loot. When he saw it, he froze in shock. The boss had dropped a horned dagger, a bronze-grade weapon. At this early stage of the game, that was extremely rare. In Conviction, equipment ranks went from common to legendary. Elite monsters were very rare, and the chance of getting stat gear was less than 1 in 1,000. A bronze weapon had 20% more attack power than common gear and also came with an extra bonus stat. This level 5 dagger was worth a lot of money, at least 3 silver coins. But first, he needed to identify its hidden stats. At that moment, 2 notifications appeared. His leather leggings had sold for 8 copper coins. At the same time, he received a call from a player named Flying Stone, a paladin he slightly remembered. Flying Stone appeared on the call, full of excitement. He happily explained that the farming location Nie Yan had given him was amazing. It increased his leveling speed by 50%. He even said he felt bad, like he had cheated Nie Yan by only trading 1 skill book for such a great spot. Nie Yan calmly told him not to worry. He simply asked Flying Stone to give him a copy of the Owl's Insight skill book if it ever dropped. Flying Stone quickly agreed. Then, curious, he asked how a level 0 player like Nie Yan had known about that farming location. Nie Yan told a simple lie. He said he had played on a high-level account before, but he decided to start over as a thief. Flying Stone was immediately impressed. He thought Nie Yan must have been a top-ranked player before. Changing the topic, Flying Stone asked if Nie Yan's old account had ever cleared the fallen shaman camp. He explained that his own team had tried many times but failed each time. They had died again and again, losing gear and experience. Seeing a chance to earn money, Nie Yan calmly said he could provide a full guide to clear the camp. The price was 2 silver coins. Not negotiable. Flying Stone was shocked that Nie Yan even had such a guide. Still, he was very happy. He trusted Nie Yan completely and promised to convince his team captain to pay the money as soon as possible. After ending the call, Nie Yan turned his attention back to his reward. It was time to identify his new dagger. He returned to Track Town and went straight to the appraiser to reveal the weapon's hidden stats. Inside the shop, a beautiful elf appraiser with sharp eyes welcomed him. Nie Yan placed the unidentified dagger in front of her and asked her to examine it. The elf smiled slightly and told him the price for identification, 10 copper coins. Nie Yan was surprised by the high cost, but he understood what it meant. In conviction, the identification fee was based on the item's value. If the fee was 10 copper, then the dagger must be worth at least 12 silver coins in the market. It was worth it. Without hesitation, he paid the coins. The appraiser began her work. A strong energy flowed from her hands, and the dagger was surrounded by bright golden light. The results were amazing. The horn dagger was a bronze-grade weapon with a level 0 requirement. It gave 18 attack and 5 strength. Nie Yan was thrilled. The bonus stat had rolled as 5 strength, which increased his damage even more. Its base stats were almost 10 times better than a normal dagger. With this weapon, he felt almost unbeatable in the early game. He calmly reviewed his abilities. He now had a strong weapon, the vital strike skill, and stealth. It was the perfect setup for an assassin. However, he was still missing one thing: a way to heal during long fights. For thieves, there were 2 ways to recover health: potions or bandages. Potions worked quickly but cost a lot of money. Bandaging was slower but much cheaper. As a reborn player who understood the value of every coin, the choice was clear. He would use bandages. Before leaving town, he stopped at the apothecary. He had a special plan in mind, and for that, he needed 2 minor underwater breathing potions. Inside the shop, the alchemist handed him the potions. But first, there was something else he needed to do. Nie Yan decided it was time to learn the bandage mastery skill he had been planning to get. After finishing his preparations, he headed toward his next destination, Lake Rando, a remote and dangerous place. The road to the lake was full of monsters. Nie Yan moved like a shadow, killing them quickly with fast and clean strikes. He stayed alert the entire time. Out in the wild, players could steal your kills or start fights at any moment. After some time, he reached the fisherman village at Lake Rando. The main path went straight through the crowded village. Nie Yan knew that attacking this place directly would require a raid team of at least 1,000 players. For someone alone like him, stealth was the only choice. Just as he was about to sneak in, a zone announcement suddenly appeared. The guild Victorious Return was clearing the area. All non-guild players were ordered to leave within 3 minutes. Nie Yan's eyes narrowed when he saw the name. Victorious Return. The name brought back painful memories. Just like in his past life, they were arrogant bullies. They claimed entire areas as their own and attacked anyone who refused to leave. He clearly remembered how they had hunted him for months. A cold fire burned in his eyes. This wasn't just a problem. It was a chance for revenge. He decided right then that he would slowly settle the score with them, instead of leaving. Nie Yan activated his stealth skill. His body blended into the shadows as he quietly slipped forward. He planned to walk straight through their territory without being noticed. He moved silently through the village, passing the dangerous fisherman guards like a ghost. Suddenly, his stealth broke. A fireball exploded in front of him, revealing his position. The blast hit him directly and knocked him backward. A system message appeared. A player named Purple Blaze had attacked him. Self-defense mode was now active. An elementalist from Victorious Return stepped forward with a proud smile. He mocked Nie Yan and told him to get lost. Seeing that Nie Yan was alone, the mage was confident he could handle him easily. Nie Yan quickly dodged another fire attack. His mind worked fast. Against a mage, he only had 2 choices: close the distance and attack, or run away. But running was not his style. He knew the mage's pyroblast spell needed 2 seconds to cast. That was more than enough time for a thief. Nie Yan rushed forward, catching the mage off guard. Before the spell could finish, he was already in front of him. He drove his dagger hard into the mage's chest, cutting away a large part of his health bar. The mage shouted in anger. He screamed that this area belonged to Victorious Return and that Nie Yan must have a death wish. To keep Nie Yan away, the mage cast another spell, Ring of Fire. Flames spun around him in a burning circle. Nie Yan was caught in the fire, and his health quickly started dropping from the intense heat. But he was ready. Without hesitation, he drank a minor recovery potion. His health instantly restored by a large amount. This was the moment Nie Yan had been waiting for. The mage was shocked. He thought Nie Yan would run away. Instead, Nie Yan pushed through the flames and struck him again with a clean hit. The mage screamed in panic, but it was already too late. Nie Yan had broken through his defense and was ready to finish him. While watching Nie Yan burn in the fire, the mage quickly checked their health. He guessed the thief must be almost dead. He himself only had 51 HP left. It was now a race against time. If he could cast one more fireball, he would win. Purple Blaze shouted angrily, saying this was the price for challenging the victorious Return Guild. But his attack was rushed and sloppy. Nie Yan easily stepped to the side and avoided it. At that moment, Nie Yan's dagger began to glow with a dark red light. He moved forward and used his skill, Vital Strike. The blade stabbed deep into the mage's body. Purple Blaze stared in disbelief as his body slowly began to break apart into pixels. He could not understand how a level 2 thief had survived his powerful spells. Nie Yan gave him a small smile. As the mage's body disappeared, he finally realized the truth. Nie Yan had used an instant recovery potion. But it didn't make sense. A solo level 2 player should not have enough money to buy such a rare item. Nie Yan calmly told him he could think about that while waiting to respawn. The fight was over. Victory belonged to Nie Yan. He quickly picked up the level 2 bronze staff the mage had dropped. There was no time to celebrate. He knew the rest of the guild would arrive soon. Just as he expected, nearby guild members saw Purple Blaze fall. They shouted loudly and ordered everyone to catch the killer. Without hesitation, Nie Yan ran toward the lake shore. The guild's warriors chased after him. One of them mocked him, saying escape was impossible. A fighter with a huge greatsword swung it down with great force, shouting that Nie Yan would never get away. But the flame slash attack was too slow. Nie Yan dodged it easily. The warrior was stunned. He could not believe the thief was fast enough to avoid such a strong attack. When Nie Yan reached the edge of the cliff, he quickly took out the underwater breathing potion he had bought earlier. The guild members behind him realized what he planned to do and shouted for someone to stop him. The warriors used their skills and rushed forward in a desperate attempt to block him before he reached the water. But in their panic, they lost coordination. Some of the charging warriors crashed into their own shield-bearer who was trying to cut off Nie Yan's path. Nie Yan glanced back with a faint smile as he watched them stumble over each other. Their attacks hit nothing but air and stone as he jumped gracefully off the cliff. With a loud splash, he disappeared into the waters of Lake Rando. The members of Victorious Return could only stand there and stare at the surface. They cursed angrily. Without underwater breathing potions, they could not follow him. Soon, a woman who seemed to be the guild leader arrived and demanded to know what happened. One warrior reported that the target had escaped into the lake. The leader calmly gave her next order. Find out when Purple Blaze respawns and get the thief's player ID from him immediately. At the respawn point, Purple Blaze shared the name. The mysterious thief finally had an identity. Nirvana Flame. As the guild leader above swore revenge, Nie Yan moved deeper into the quiet water below. He had made a powerful enemy, but everything was going exactly as he planned. Safe underwater, he let out a slow breath. He had escaped the guild. Now it was time for his real goal. He remembered a hidden treasure chest somewhere in these waters. Thanks to his past memories, it did not take long to find it. Hidden among thick seaweed was the chest he was looking for. Inside, he found exactly what he needed. The fisherman's water-repelling pearl, a special item that allowed him to breathe underwater for 30 minutes. It was not very rare, but for his current plan, it was extremely important. Just as he put it away, a sharp trident flew past his face. He had been discovered. Without realizing it, he had entered a fisherman's den. The creatures surrounded Nie Yan from every direction. Fighting them underwater, in their own territory, would be suicide. He looked up at the surface, and an idea came to him. The noise he caused underwater had already alerted the fisherman tribe on the shore. At the same time, the Victorious Return Guild was still attacking the fisherman village, not knowing that more enemies were coming. Nie Yan swam upward on purpose, leading the angry underwater fishermen straight toward the guild members above. From the safety of the water, he watched with a small grin as the two groups crashed into each other. The guild and the fishermen began fighting fiercely. He silently thanked Victorious Return for clearing the path for him. While chaos spread across the shore, he swam toward his real destination, the island in the center of the lake. Soon, he reached the island and came up for air. He took a deep breath. His plan had worked perfectly, but just then, a scream for help echoed across the island. He turned toward the sound and froze. Pink hair. That voice. It was Yao Yao, the holy mage from his old party. He could not believe they had met again so soon. Memories from his past life rushed into his mind, the battles they fought together, and the quiet talks by the campfire. They had shared many experiences. Seeing her here felt like fate. Back in the present, he saw Yao Yao struggling in the water. 3 water spiders were attacking her. Without thinking, he jumped back into the water to help. He reached her quickly and used Vital Strike on one of the spiders. Surprised by the sudden help, Yao Yao quickly regained focus and cast Holy Judgment on another spider. His dagger and her holy magic hit at the same time. It felt natural, like they had fought side by side for years. Together, they quickly defeated the monsters. When the last spider disappeared, Yao Yao stepped onto the shore and thanked him sincerely. He told her it was nothing and introduced himself with his in-game name, Nirvana Flame. She softly repeated the name. Nirvana Flame, something about it felt familiar. The name reminded her of someone she knew in real life, Nie Yan. She wondered if he was the same person. She then introduced herself properly as Yao Yao. A friend request from Nirvana Flame appeared in front of her. She smiled and said that since he saved her, they should add each other so she could repay him someday. He accepted. A notification confirmed they were now friends. Nie Yan smiled and asked what she was doing on this remote island. Yao Yao explained she was farming water spiders for their water sacks. Coincidentally, Nie Yan was hunting the same monsters for a different item, fine silk. Since they were after drops from the same monsters, he suggested they form a party. She agreed immediately. To his surprise, she opened a trade window and offered him the fine silk she had already collected as a thank you gift. The trade was completed, and Nie Yan received 12 spools of fine silk. At the current market price, that was worth about 36 copper coins, a large amount for a new player. She insisted, saying 36 copper was nothing compared to saving her life, especially since she did not need the silk. Hearing that, he accepted her gift. But before they could talk more, the water suddenly exploded. A huge figure rose from beneath the surface. It was the Water Spider Lord, a chieftain-level boss. Yao Yao panicked. A chieftain was far too strong for 2 low-level players. But there was no time to escape. A notification confirmed their party was official. The battle had begun. Nie Yan moved first. He rushed forward and landed a strong vital strike on the boss. Yao Yao supported him immediately, casting Holy Judgment again. Her holy magic hit the giant spider hard, causing heavy damage and making it stagger. The spider fought back with a sharp swipe. But Nie Yan shouted a warning just in time, allowing Yao Yao to dodge. Nie Yan quickly switched to his crossbow. He told her he would draw the boss's attention, while she focused on dealing damage. He fired several bolts at the spider's eyes. The attack angered the boss and successfully pulled its attention toward him. With the boss focused on Nie Yan, Yao Yao used her strongest spells one after another. A bright beam of holy light struck the Water Spider Lord, landing a critical hit. The combined attacks were too much. The powerful chieftain collapsed and slowly sank back into the water. The lake became quiet again. Yao Yao stood still, shocked. She could not understand it. Fighting with him felt so natural. They had defeated a chieftain as if it were just an ordinary monster. Their teamwork was perfect, like they had always been partners. Nie Yan noticed her thoughtful expression and casually asked what she was thinking about. Startled, she quickly said it was nothing. She then smiled and praised his amazing skills. She asked why someone so strong was playing alone. He simply replied that he was used to being solo. Hearing that gave her an idea. With a hopeful smile, she said her group was preparing to raid the Trent Forest and invited him to join them. He asked her directly how many shield warriors her team has, and more importantly, how much defense and HP they have. This might sound like normal game talk, but for Nie Yan it is very important. He knows that the Trent Forest is not an easy dungeon. It is a level 3 instance with a sub-elite boss called the Trent King. Yao Yao tries to help and tells him that their team has 2 shield warriors. Each one has 53 defense and 230 HP. To most players, that sounds good enough. But for Nie Yan it is not. He quickly calculates the numbers in his head and realizes they are in serious danger. He explains that the Trent King has a 2% chance to deal a critical hit. If the tanks do not have at least 60 defense, a single critical hit will kill them instantly. It is not just a possibility, it is almost certain. Even the priest healing will not help if the tank dies in one hit. Yao Yao is shocked when she hears this. Nobody should know this information yet because the game has just launched. She asks him how he knows all of this. Of course, Nie Yan cannot say that he came from the future, so he simply stays quiet and lets his knowledge speak for itself. Now Yao Yao becomes worried. Getting bronze defense gear to reach 60 defense is extremely difficult at this early stage of the game. For a normal team, it is almost impossible. But Nie Yan already has a plan. With confidence, he tells her there might be another way. He asks her to let him lead the team. It is a bold request. However, after seeing how capable he is, Yao Yao actually considers it. She says she will try to convince the group, even though she knows it will be hard to let a random thief lead their raid. At that moment, they finish checking the loot from the monster they just defeated. The rewards are very good. A beam of light appears, showing a new piece of equipment. Yao Yao uses the appraisal skill to check the item. Nie Yan is surprised when he sees this. The appraisal skill is a rare utility skill, especially this early in the game. The item is fine silk gauntlets, bronze quality. Level requirement, 0 attributes, defense 2 magic 3. It is perfect beginner gear for a mage. Nie Yan decides to build goodwill, so he immediately gives the item to Yao Yao. He tells her it suits her perfectly, and that she should keep it. He does not hesitate at all. However, he does not leave empty-handed. He also found a skill book called Assassinate. For a thief, this is a very important skill because it deals high damage and works as a finishing move. Yao Yao is clearly impressed by both his skill and his generosity. But suddenly a system message appears. The game will close in 3 minutes. It is time for the server shutdown. They say goodbye and promise to meet again next time before logging out in a flash of digital light. Then the scene moves to the real world. Nie Yan wakes up in his bed, still holding his VR helmet. It is the morning of the second day since his rebirth. He takes a deep breath and realizes something important. In the game, he is becoming strong. But in real life, his body is still weak. He looks at his thin arms and realizes he has been neglecting his health. Then he thinks about Cao Xu, the man who destroyed his life in the previous timeline. Cao Xu is a powerful financial tycoon with bodyguards and real-world influence. If Nie Yan wants to survive what is coming, he can not only be strong in the game. He must also become strong in real life. He clenches his fist and decides to start exercising right away. He will no longer stay weak and helpless. So he leaves his house, but something unexpected happens. A large truck suddenly comes speeding down the street. The tires screech loudly as it rushes past. Nie Yan loses his balance and falls. Just then, a girl quickly runs toward him to help. It is her. Yao Yao, whose real name is Xia Yao. She is wearing a white dress and looks worried. She asks if he is okay and checks to see if he is hurt. She scolds him gently for being careless and says she has a first aid kit in her car. While she goes to get it, Nie Yan watches her quietly. As he looks at her, memories from his past life return. She was not only his teammate, she was also someone he deeply regretted losing. Because in the past, he had been too weak and too afraid to express his feelings. And because of her connection to him, Xia Yao eventually became a target of Cao Xu's powerful financial group. The pressure and harassment pushed Xia Yao into severe mental illness. She suffered greatly because of that man. Nie Yan looks at her, and his determination grows stronger. This time, he has the power to change things. In his heart, he silently promises that he will never let her suffer like that again. While she cleans the small wounds on his body, she scolds him for being careless. Then their eyes meet, and Nie Yan smiles at her. His smile makes Xia Yao blush. She quickly looks away and wonders if he is even listening to her. But Nie Yan calmly says that he can always rely on her to take care of him. He also tells her that she looks cute when she acts like this. Still blushing, she turns around to leave. Quietly, she mutters that she would never want to take care of someone like him and says goodbye. After getting into her car, she looks back at him. She begins to think about the player Nirvana Flame and wonders if Nie Yan could really be that person. But Nie Yan seems a little different now. He looks more confident, just like Nirvana Flame. Nie Yan watches her car leave. He feels happy to see her again and thinks that she is still as kind and charming as he remembers. But suddenly, his expression becomes serious. His mood changes quickly from relaxed to determined. He thinks about Cao Xu and knows that this man will eventually try to ruin his life again. Because of that, Nie Yan realizes he must grow stronger and gain conviction as quickly as possible. The game is his only chance to change his fate. At that moment, his phone suddenly rings. It is Tang Yao. When Nie Yan answers, Tang Yao immediately starts shouting. He demands to know where Nie Yan has been for the past 2 days, and why he has not contacted him. Then he orders him to come meet him right away. Nie Yan is surprised for a moment, but then he smiles and says he is happy to hear his voice again. Memories begin to return to him. Tang Yao was his best friend in his past life. When Nie Yan's life fell apart, Tang Yao secretly helped him many times. He even risked being discovered by Cao Xu's people. Because of Tang Yao, Nie Yan's difficult days became a little easier. However, Tang Yao also had a weakness: he loved chasing women. In Nie Yan's previous life, Tang Yao got into a fight at a bar because of jealousy. During the fight, he angered a very powerful person. In the end, He was beaten badly and left dying in a dark alley. In this life, Nie Yan refuses to let that tragedy happen again. Soon, they meet on the street. Tang Yao happily puts Nie Yan in a playful headlock. The two friends start talking about the game. Nie Yan casually says that he is currently a level 2 wind thief. Tang Yao is surprised. Reaching level 2 this early in the game is already difficult. Then Tang Yao proudly says that he is a level 3 arcane mage. After that, they go to a place called the PK Bar. It is a special place where players connect to machines and fight using their in-game characters in battle simulations. It is partly a high-end gaming cafe and partly a competitive arena. Tang Yao likes coming here to gamble on matches, even though he often loses money. Right then, trouble appears. A man named Wei Kai walks in with several friends. He looks stylish but also arrogant. As soon as he sees Tang Yao, he starts mocking him, asking if he came to lose more money again. Tang Yao is clearly annoyed, but he also enjoys the challenge. Then Wei Kai notices Nie Yan and sneers. He asks if the beating from last time was not enough. It seems that Nie Yan had also been bullied here before. Wei Kai continues laughing and insulting them. Tang Yao quickly says that as long as he is there, Nie Yan will be safe and no one will dare to touch him. But Nie Yan remains calm. Very calm. Even Wei Kai notices something strange. Nie Yan does not look scared like before. Instead, he seems confident, as if he has suddenly become much braver. Soon, Tang Yao enters one of the simulator pods to fight Wei Kai. He bets 200 credits for each round. The match information appears on the big screen. Tang Yao, level 3 arcane mage; Wei Kai, level 3 berserker. Nie Yan immediately analyzes the situation. The berserker has a charge skill, while the arcane mage specializes in long-range attacks and control magic. However, the battlefield is a flat and open area. Because there are no obstacles or terrain to hide behind, the berserker can quickly rush forward and attack the mage at close range. After observing the map, Nie Yan already understands the result. Tang Yao will probably lose this round. Just then, one of Wei Kai's friends speaks to Nie Yan. He says that Tang Yao is about to lose and asks if Nie Yan wants to fight a few rounds instead. Nie Yan looks at him calmly and confidently. He says they will play only one round, and only if the bet is worth it. The man becomes annoyed by his attitude. With arrogance, he raises the bet to 700 credits for a single match, saying he will teach Nie Yan a lesson. He is already sure that winning will be easy. The crowd turns their attention to the screen as the new match appears. Nie Yan, level 2 wind thief Shifeng, level 2 ranger. On paper, the ranger has the advantage. Rangers usually have an advantage against thieves. They have high perception and strong long-range attacks, which can reveal a thief's stealth and stop them before they get close. Because of this, Shifeng is confident that he will win easily. The simulation begins, and the randomly chosen map appears, Bamboo Forest. Shifeng spawns into the map. For a brief moment, both players see each other. But Nie Yan immediately uses his stealth skill and disappears. Shifeng understands this ability. He quickly realizes that the situation is not good for him. The bamboo forest is thick and full of tall bamboo, shadows, and hiding spots. It is perfect terrain for a thief. He watches as Nie Yan seems to vanish completely. Shifeng starts to panic. He activates his abilities and begins searching everywhere. He runs through the bamboo forest, looking in every direction, but he cannot find Nie Yan anywhere. Even though he thought he would win easily, his opponent has completely disappeared. At that moment, Nie Yan silently notices Shifeng above him. His mind stays calm and focused. With 10 years of experience as a thief, hiding his presence has become natural for him. In a single moment, Nie Yan suddenly appears behind Shifeng. Shifeng feels that something is wrong, but it is already too late. This is not a normal fight. It is an execution. Nie Yan's dagger glows with deadly energy as he attacks. A damage number appears on the screen. 40 damage. Shifeng's health drops from 110 HP to 70 HP with just one attack. Shifeng quickly turns around in panic, trying to fight back. He cannot understand when Nie Yan got behind him. But the battle is already over. As Shifeng's attack comes close to Nie Yan's face, Nie Yan calmly says that it is finished. The screen suddenly flashes the words Vital Strike. 70 damage. Shifeng's character falls to the ground immediately. The match ends in an instant. The atmosphere in the gaming lounge changes from relaxed to complete shock in just a second. A huge KO sign appears on the screen. The spectators stare at the screen with their mouths open. One person is sweating and stammering, unable to believe that Shifeng lost so quickly. They can't understand what just happened. Shifeng was supposed to be a decent player. He was a ranger, which means he had a range advantage. Yet he was defeated instantly. Meanwhile, Nie Yan sits calmly inside his gaming pod. He looks like he just finished a simple task, not a serious duel. His expression is relaxed. In his mind, he simply thinks that fighting a level 2 beginner ranger is unfair for the opponent. He is not bragging. To him, it was just routine. On the other side, Shifeng sits in his pod, sweating heavily. His eyes are wide with shock. He keeps thinking about what happened. In his mind, he replays the moment again and again. Just a few quick movements from Nie Yan hit his vital points and ended the fight in a single strike. It shows how precise Nie Yan's skills are. In the past, when Wei Kai steps out of his pod and removes his VR headset smoothly, the people around begin whispering. They wonder when this person became so decisive. They ask themselves if this is really the same Nie Yan who used to be quiet and timid, the one who always swallowed his anger. Now they see a completely different person. The old Nie Yan is gone. At that moment, Tang Yao, his best friend, walks over. He tries to look calm, but it's obvious he is impressed. Nie Yan asks how Tang Yao's match went, even though he already knows the answer. Tang Yao sighs and admits he lost 2 rounds and is now down 1,200 credits. For students, that is a lot of money. He explains that his opponent, Wei Kai, learned a skill called Berserker's Anti-Magic Aura. The Berserker's body glows with red energy that weakens magic attacks. Tang Yao is frustrated because this skill directly counters his arcane mage class. He believes the fight was impossible to win. However, Nie Yan shakes his head and calmly explains that the anti-magic aura only reduces a small amount of spell damage. It is not as powerful as people think. He tells Tang Yao that as long as the spell timing is correct, defeating a berserker is not that difficult. This is advice from experience. Tang Yao suddenly realizes his mistake. He admits that he didn't time his spells properly. All his spells went on cooldown, and the berserker rushed forward and defeated him. Tang Yao then looks at Nie Yan with curiosity. He wonders where Nie Yan learned all this knowledge. Nie Yan only smiles and shows the money he just won. Tang Yao stares in amazement and asks if he really won all that. Suddenly, the mood in the room changes again. The bullies return, and they look angry. Fun, one of them, angrily shouts at Nie Yan for acting arrogant. His pride is hurt because he lost money. He threatens to teach Nie Yan a lesson for taking their cash. Then things get serious. Fun throws a punch at Nie Yan in the real world, but Nie Yan does not panic. He calmly catches Fun's fist, redirects the force, and throws him hard onto the floor. Fun screams as he crashes down. It is completely humiliating. Nie Yan stands calmly and looks at the group. Inside his mind, he remembers that in his previous life, he trained his body to survive difficult situations and deal with powerful enemies like Cao Xu. Behind him, Tang Yao watches in shock. He wonders when his friend became so strong. The other bullies start to feel scared. One of them whispers that they should stop messing with Nie Yan. They realize he is not someone easy to deal with. Their leader feels humiliated. Since he cannot win a physical fight, he tries to regain his pride through a challenge. He angrily says that Nie Yan dared to beat his subordinate. Nie Yan crosses his arms and leans back casually. He says they were just playing around and that the opponent was a little weak. Calling the opponent weak right in front of the boss is extremely disrespectful. The boss steps forward and challenges Nie Yan to a game duel, believing he can win there. Nie Yan smirks and agrees, but says he will only play if the stakes are high enough. He knows their pride is important. The best way to hurt them is through their money. Tang Yao starts to panic. The challenger announces a bet of 1,000 per round, and he has 3,000 total. Tang Yao quickly points out that the fight is unfair. The opponent is a level 3 berserker, while Nie Yan is only a level 2 shadow dancer thief. Berserkers usually defeat thieves in direct combat. But Nie Yan raises 3 fingers confidently. 3,000 per round, he says. He just tripled the bet. The challenger is surprised for a moment, but then he laughs and agrees. He believes this will be easy money. Tang Yao grabs Nie Yan's shoulder and asks if he has gone crazy. He reminds him that he doesn't even have that much money. Nie Yan calmly replies that he doesn't. That's why he wants to borrow money from Tang Yao. Tang Yao almost panics, but after a moment he sighs and agrees. He decides to trust his friend and risk everything. True friendship. The system announces that they are entering the game. The screen changes as they enter the virtual world. The versus screen appears. Nie Yan versus the Berserker. Their avatars appear. The Berserker looks huge, wearing heavy armor and holding a massive sword. Nie Yan looks smaller but fast and dangerous. Then the map loads. It is a wide grassland, with endless green fields. Tang Yao's face drops immediately. He explains that this map is terrible for thieves. There are no trees, rocks, or shadows to hide in. A thief without cover is very vulnerable. The opponent laughs and offers to change the map if Nie Yan thinks it is unfair. He is clearly mocking him. But Nie Yan simply says there is no need. They will fight on this map. The battle begins. Nie Yan activates stealth, and his body slowly becomes invisible. The berserker scans the field carefully. He believes the moving grass will reveal Nie Yan's position. Suddenly he notices grass moving strangely. He waits for the wind. When a strong wind blows across the field and the grass waves wildly, he swings his giant sword through the area where he believes Nie Yan is hiding. But he misses. Sweat appears on his forehead. Then he realizes something shocking. Nie Yan is using the wind to hide his movements. When the wind blows and the grass moves, Nie Yan moves. When the wind stops, Nie Yan stops. He is perfectly matching his movement with nature. It is brilliant. The berserker becomes nervous and waits for the next gust of wind. When the wind blows again, he prepares his attack. But nothing appears in front of him. His eyes widen in shock. Suddenly, a red slash appears behind him. Nie Yan has already moved behind him. A dagger strikes his back. Damage, -35. The berserker panics, and uses whirlwind slash, spinning wildly with his sword to push Nie Yan away. But Nie Yan has already stepped back. He watches carefully. Nie Yan knows that after using whirlwind slash with a great sword, the berserker has about 1 second of recovery time. That moment is the key. The spin stops. The berserker cannot move. He is completely open. Nie Yan instantly lunges forward. His dagger strikes. Vital strike activated. The screen flashes. From the sidelines, Tang Yao and the others watch in shock. That's impossible! Someone shouts. The timing was perfect. Critical hit, 96 damage. The berserker's health drops rapidly. He now has only 34 HP left out of 165. He is one hit away from defeat. Desperate and furious, he raises his sword and uses his final attack, Flame Slash. His blade bursts into flames as he swings it down with all his strength. The giant burning sword falls toward Nie Yan like a meteor. Nie Yan stands there calmly, the fire reflecting in his eyes. Tang Yao panicked and shouted, "Nie Yan! Dodge quickly!" At that moment, Nie Yan was facing Wei Kai's attack. Wei Kai planned to use Flame Slash to force him back. But Nie Yan stayed calm. As a thief, close combat is my advantage, Nie Yan thought. My HP is still high. Even if I take this hit, I can keep my distance advantage. Nie Yan raised his sword and blocked the attack. Even so, the strike landed a critical hit, and -56 HP appeared above his head. Wei Kai angrily shouted, "You brat! How dare you tank my skill? How arrogant!" Right after that, Wei Kai swung his blade again and used one strike slash. A wave of energy shot toward Nie Yan. At the same time, Wei Kai quickly jumped forward, following the attack to strike again. Tang Yao became even more nervous. Oh no! Charge has a brief stun effect. If he gets hit, Nie Yan is finished. On the other side, one of Wei Kai's subordinates smirked and said, "That brat Nie Yan is still pretending to be strong in front of us. Does he really think Boss Wei Kai's skills are just for show?" But at that moment, Nie Yan suddenly moved and dodged the attack. Wei Kai's eyes widened in shock. He dodged it? From such a close distance. He actually dodged my one strike slash? Nie Yan gripped his dagger and thought, the attack range of charge isn't as long as my dagger. If I take this chance, I can win. He moved forward and quickly slashed his dagger toward Wei Kai's neck. At the same moment, both of them hit each other with their attacks and were pushed backward. After the clash, Wei Kai's HP dropped to 0. His eyes and mouth opened wide in shock as he fell to the ground. On the other side, Nie Yan was also pushed back. He stabbed his dagger into the ground to steady himself. His HP had also fallen very low, leaving him with only 40 HP. Nie Yan thought, I still got hit by charge, just like I expected. But luckily, I struck first. There was a small wound on his face. But his eyes were calm and determined. Then a system notification appeared. You win! Tang Yao shouted in disbelief, full of excitement. He won? A level 2 thief fought a level 3 berserker. And he actually won? Wei Kai's subordinate held his head in shock and said, Boss lost? How is that possible? How does that brat Nie Yan know the skill range of a berserker so well? How did he do it? After the duel ended, Wei Kai took off his game pod helmet. He still couldn't believe it. I actually lost? Nie Yan also removed his helmet and stood up. At that moment, Tang Yao happily ran toward him and said excitedly, Not bad, kid. You won even though you were level 2 against a level 3. Nie Yan smiled slightly and replied, Just a lucky win. Tang Yao put a hand on his shoulder and said, You seem to know a lot about this game, Conviction. Teach me how to play an arcane mage. Nie Yan smiled and answered, No problem. I'll teach you everything I know. After losing the duel, Wei Kai walked toward Nie Yan with his subordinates. Seeing them approach, Tang Yao quickly asked, What's wrong, young Master Wei? You're not going to go back on your loss, are you? Wei Kai replied calmly, Young Master Tang, what kind of person do you think I am? I admit defeat and accept my loss. Then he looked at Nie Yan and said, If young Master Nie Yan and young Master Tang have time in the future, you're welcome to come hang out at my bar. After saying that, he turned to his subordinates and said, Let's go. As they were leaving, one of his subordinates asked, Boss, why are you being so polite to that brat Nie Yan? Wei Kai replied calmly, You can't judge a person only by how they are now. You have to look further into the future. That kid has changed a lot. He might rise very quickly in the future, so it's better not to make enemies with him. Meanwhile, Nie Yan happily said to Tang Yao, Let's go. We won quite a bit today, so it's my treat. As for the arcane mage stuff, we'll talk about it in the game tonight. Tang Yao excitedly replied, Great. That night, the light in Nie Yan's room was bright. He was exercising to make his body stronger. After finishing his workout, he grabbed a towel and said to himself, Having a young body is really great. After resting for a moment, he said, All right, it's time to enter conviction. I also promised to run the Treant Forest with Cha Cha's team. He picked up his game helmet and put it on. A system notification appeared, entering the game. When he returned to conviction, a system alert suddenly rang. Player EasyEye has requested to add you as a friend. Accept? Options. Accept/reject. Another message appeared. Player Flying Stone has deposited 1 silver coin into your personal storage. Message, Expert, the walkthrough you provided really worked. We already cleared the fallen shaman camp. The other silver coin has also been left in your storage. Also, Expert, do you have a walkthrough for the Ogmat Muddy Swamp? It's urgent. After reading the messages, Nie Yan accepted the friend request. He muttered to himself, EasyEye should be Tang Yao. Since he's here, I'll take him to run the Treant Forest. Then he thought again, as for the Ogmat Muddy Swamp walkthrough. I can't keep selling dungeon guides. That will attract too much suspicion. It's better to wait until their team fails a few times and then sell it for a better price. Nie Yan then noticed an old man sitting near the edge of the ocean, trying to catch fish. Nie Yan said, For now, I'll turn in the hidden quest first. System alert, hidden quest triggered. Physician Blevins asked. Young man, how many fine silks have you collected? Nie Yan replied respectfully, Respected physician, here are 30 fine silks that I found. Physician Blevins smiled and said, Young man, thank you for your generosity. To show my gratitude, please accept these 30 pieces of silk. I have also decided to teach you a skill. System notification, you have obtained 30 pieces of silk. Do you want to learn the intermediate combat bandage skill taught by Physician Blevins? After learning the skill, Nie Yan thought, I came here specifically for this skill. System notification, you have learned intermediate combat bandage. Intermediate combat bandage, materials required, 10 silk. Restores 20 HP. Skill lasts 10 seconds, can be interrupted after 3 seconds, can be used on teammates' hidden quest. Physician Blevins commission, 20% complete. After gaining the skill, Nie Yan muttered, I already turned in the fine silk. The quest should be complete. Why is it only 20%? He thought for a moment. Could this be a chain quest? Physician Blevins smiled and said, Young man, 30 fine silks are far from enough. I still need more. Can you help me find them? Nie Yan replied, At your service. He thought to himself, it really is a chain quest. At that moment, the system rang again. After answering the call, a voice shouted, Nirvana Flame. We're already gathered. Come over quickly. It was Yao Yao. Nie Yan replied, All right, I'll be there soon. Then he thought to himself, if I want to act like an expert while running the Treant Forest with Cha Cha's team, everything has to match the image. First, I need to farm the Feather Fall Jewel that drops in the Treant Forest. Meanwhile, at the Tracktown teleportation point, Flying Stone was waiting for Nie Yan. He muttered impatiently, That kid Nie Yan said he would carry me through a dungeon. Where is he? Suddenly, a voice came from behind him. Yo, you're here? Flying Stone turned around and saw Nie Yan. Nie Yan smiled and said, Let's go. I'll take you to farm the Treant King today. Flying Stone smiled after seeing Nie Yan. Flying Stone was surprised when he saw Cha Cha and her teammates arrive in front of him. Cha Cha raised her hand and happily called out, Nirvana Flame, over here. Behind her stood Yulan. Flying Stone looked at them and felt excited. He whispered to Nie Yan, Wow, 2 great beauties. Real eye candy. Bro, when did you meet them? Cha Cha walked up to Nie Yan and said with a smile, Nirvana Flame, I spent a lot of effort convincing big sister Yulan to come. You absolutely cannot make us lose face in front of everyone. One of Cha Cha's teammates, Chen Bo, a wind thief, gritted his teeth. It looked like he didn't want to team up with Nie Yan. Then Yulan stepped forward and greeted him politely. Hello, Nirvana Flame. You're the wind thief Cha Cha mentioned, The one who can lead us through the Treant forest, right? She looked at him carefully and thought, this guy looks very steady. His behavior is calm and relaxed. He really does have some traits of an expert. Nie Yan nodded and replied yes. I'm 100% confident that we can clear the Treant forest. Then he added seriously, but let's make one thing clear first. I will be the team captain, and everyone must follow my arrangements. After hearing that, the other teammates looked at each other in confusion, though they didn't say anything. However, Chen Bo, the wind thief, became angry and spoke up. Why should we listen to you? He said angrily. What if you don't know what you're doing and cause our whole team to get wiped out?